right, we'll be ready. I'm ready. You get yours set up? I'm ready.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we're going to address a lot of issues, and definitely the upcoming presidential race. I think we got 9 more days, I believe, and it'll be over. Hopefully, that we won't have any major issues. We know there's going to be some line going on and trying to steal this election, but hopefully things go well for Kamala Harris. I don't even want to mention the other person's name. But we'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott, who is with the Scamming Democrat Party, who is the chair of the Democrats, Scamming Democratic Party. Cheryl Moran, who is a campaign manager for Haley Morissette. Also, Mr. Vernon Watson, where you're watching this on WBQP TV, Roku, Fire Stick, and YouTube, and also on our Facebook pages. So, they're going to send it right back to you.
Yeah. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us this week. Sorry we missed you last week. We were all, for the most part, traveling, and we didn't get back until late Sunday evening. We had the pleasure of, well, I had, I should say, of attending the wedding of Miss Jenna Lewis, now Jenna Soletti, who is the daughter of our very own Jill Lewis Dagg. So we were in Melbourne, Florida, which is down there, by the Space Center and all of those other stuff. So it was a wonderful time. Happy to be back. Congratulations to the married couple. As you know, as you see, Jill is, I guess, still all sad, so she can't be with us today because her last child is now officially married. So she is not by herself, but everybody's now gone and started their new lives. So we certainly know that Jill will be back with us soon. And I want to take a moment to wish our very own Christina a very speedy recovery. She underwent a surgical procedure, and so she's going to be recuperating over the next few weeks. So our thoughts and prayers are with Christina this week. Yeah, so as we look at it, I guess we want to make sure that everybody has had an opportunity to get a COVID booster. Have you guys, Mr. McIntosh, have you gotten your COVID booster recently?
I haven't gotten it yet. Last week I thought about it when I was in New York. I, I thought about it. Should have got a COVID booster, but everything was where I went to see the Lion King in New York with my grandson, to take my grandson and daughter, uh, which it was really, really good to see all the choreography and costumes and all of the things. The play was off the chain. It was really excellent. I didn't know it would be that good because I didn't really want to go at first, but then my daughter got me a ticket. I said, I got to go now. So, but I'm glad I did go because I really enjoyed it. And my grandson, and they wanted to stay down in Times Square. So I'm like, no, I'm too old to be hanging out around there, walking Times
Oh,
Square.
but you mean you stayed in a hotel in Times Square? I was like, oh, you big, that's big money.
Hey Jerry.
Oh, thank
Hey
Uh,
Jerry. It's ironic that you was there last week seeing the Lion King. This week we got another Lion King there in New York at Madison Square
yeah,
Garden.
yeah. At Madison Square Garden, right?
Good
The,
segue.
the Lions,
Yeah,
Lions.
Lion King.
It We talking about that Donald Trump. He in Madison Square Garden tonight. And he got a lot of people there too, unfortunate. So
What about the rest of you all? Have you all gotten your booster shots? I say this because we're still in an uptick on COVID. So if you are beyond your 6 month window, now is the time to go and get.
I have not gotten. Ironic that you say that, Derek. My wife asked me just two or 3 days ago, when are we going to get our COVID booster shot? So we have not gotten it yet, and I have not gotten it, but she's been on my ass about getting it.
Okay. Well, please, like I'll say to the panelists as well as to our viewing audience, please make sure that you go get one, go get your flu shot, because we are now in that season. As you know, you rarely see anybody with the mask on anymore. So you want to make sure that you're being as diligent with your health as well as the health of your loved ones as much as possible. So there's COVID, there's RSV, there's flu, there's pneumonia, there's shingles. Hey, get the entire dose, of everything. Just run the gamut. But please make sure you're protecting both yourselves as well as your loved ones this fall season. I guess we will go into a roundtable. So did you have something, Mr. McIntosh?
I was just going to say, we definitely can't forget that the upcoming election in the next, 9 more days? I mean, it's a lot going on. I'm happy to see that the enthusiasm out there is really, really up there. So it's really good to see it.
Yeah.
But that's all I got for right now until we get into the show.
All right. Well, we will go into
I want to give Cheryl a shout out for her new camera. Yay! 1,000% improvement, Cheryl. Thank you.
And thank you for your patience.
And I'm gonna try my best not to lean forward this show, so you don't have.
You will get a text if you do.
Yeah, I know. I always get a text. I get a text every Sunday, so this is not unfamiliar territory for me. We'll go through our normal host roundtable at this point in time, and Mr. Vernon, I will start with you. What do you have for us? That's good.
I don't know. Nothing I can think of right off the top of my head. It's something to come up in a few minutes, but let me pass on to Jerry. So
Veterans Day?
Huh? Well, I just want to remind the folks about the Veterans Day parade now. Since you get it, it's going to be on November the 11th, and we want folks to participate with the parade, as well as the ML. I want to let Cheryl talk about the MLK parade. It's coming up as well. We need to get people to start registering for it now, and everything. But I think the cutoff for the Veterans Day parade may have passed now. I'm not sure, but it is. If it's not, just check it and see. It's probably never. It really never ever too late to get in. But we're trying to get folks to get registered on time so that we know how to plan and how much money we have to plan to do certain stuff with. And so hopefully that it will get into it. And I would encourage everybody that wants visibility to get into the parade. That it's a good opportunity to to get some great visibility, regardless of whether you're in a small business or you just want to show your patriotism. It's a good opportunity to get in there.
So when is the parade, Vern?
It's on Monday, November the 11th.
Monday, November 11th.
Yeah. We're participating with Escambia Democrats and all of their clubs and caucuses will be walking with us on the 11th. So we look forward to it. Well, Ms. Cheryl, what do you have?
Okay, so as Vernon mentioned, we are gearing up for the MLK Day Parade. It is, as you know, it's just around the corner. As soon as the elections are over with, we'll be out there really, really heavy. But we do want to encourage people to register early. Registrations are open now. And we've made it easier this year because we now have a website where you can register online and make your payment and everything all in one quick swoop. The website is www.mlkparadepensacola.com. So again, we encourage everyone. Registration is open until December 31st. And as Vernon mentioned, we do like to extend that to people who want to be involved. But understand, we would like for people to understand that there will be an additional charge, a late fee after December 31st. So we encourage everyone to register early.
What is the themes?
Oh, the theme this year is One Team, One Dream. We had to come up with something that would, we definitely took this election in account when coming up with the theme. And no matter what, but Vice President Harris will win. We want it to be on that note of one team. We're a part of one team, one dream, and that is unity.
We should have had, we ain't going back.
Well,
I know, I'm just messing with you.
That'll be the subtitle.
That's been what everybody is saying in different events. We ain't going back.
No.
Regardless of the outcome, let it be known we ain't going back.
No. And the only way to make sure that happens is to keep pushing forward.
Very good way to look at it. I'm sorry, I don't know if I caught it, but how do people register? If you said it, I apologize.
Oh, yes, they can register online at mlkparadepensacola.com. www.mlkparadepensacola.com.
Thank you. Mr. McIntosh, what do you have for us?
Really don't have anything this week. I know I will next week, but I don't have anything this week.
Next week we'll be going into the stretch, right? We'll be
Yeah.
on the home stretch next week.
At the home stretch.
Yeah.
Will we have an election night event?
Yeah, as I understand it, and I'm glad you bring that up. We, as the Democratic Party, along with all of the local down ballot candidates, so that would be for those of y'all who are wondering what I mean by that. That would be Gabe Belmont, who's running for Congress, Lisa Newell, who's running for State Senate, Haley Morissette running for State House District 2, Francine Mathis for State House District 1, Ron Mathis for County Commission
Ron
District
Helms.
4. I'm sorry, Ron Helms. Thank you, Lord have mercy. You see, I'm tired. Ron Helms, County Commissioner, District 4. They will all be getting together starting at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Downtown at the Bunny Club. If you are familiar, if you know, that is the Bunny Club on Belmont.
Belmont and DeVillers? Is that?
Belmont, DeVillers. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 500, if I'm not mistaken, 500 West Belmont.
Yes.
That is the address. It starts at 6. It's a free event. Well, there's no charge to come in, rather, I should say. I don't know the details on food, if you're eating food or what they'll have, but this is an opportunity to come celebrate the momentous victories that not only Vice President Harris will have, but all of our down ballot candidates will be celebrating as well. So again, that will be on Tuesday night, November 5th, starting at 6 o'clock at the Bunny Club downtown. So, you said, Mr. McIntosh, you said you didn't have anything, right?
Not this week.
Okay, all right. So there are a couple of things that I thought would be a benefit to share with everybody, just so we can level set, so we know where we are and what work we have to do. So as you know, we've gotten into the first week of early voting. It started this Monday and it went all the way through. No, is that right? Hold on, right?
Yeah, it started Monday.
Oh, 20, that's right. I'm right. Okay, Monday the 21st. And we have up until this upcoming Saturday, which is November 2nd, to vote. Or you can go to any one of the 10 early voting locations. And bear with me, I'm trying to put it up on the screen as I sit here. But I wanted to give you some feedback as far as what that looked like. And I'm just going to use this one because it's the one that's up right now. So if you are familiar with Escambia County, I'll just put those up because that's what I have in front of me. Escambia County has 10 early voting locations. And those, I'm putting those up. If you can see them now, they're located here. You can go to the Escambia County Supervisor of Elections Office at Halifax Place, the Downtown Library, Molino Community Center, Asbury Place at Cokesbury Church, Southwest Library, Bellevue Library, the Escambia County Extension, the Brownsville Community Center, the UWF Center for Fine and Performing Arts, and the Bill G. Ward Courthouse for those of our Escambia County residents who live on the northern end of the county towards Century and all of the areas, Barth and areas north of us. Those are your options. They are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now, what you may, if you've gone to go vote at any point in time this week, you will notice that there have been an extensive amount of voters out, which is great. I will tell you, Escambia County has set records, and I think the same for Santa Rosa as well as Okaloosa counties. They've all set records in terms of the turnout that has happened in just these some days that have occurred since early voting began. So if I look at it, I just wanted to show you where we are in terms of Escambia County, if I can get that up. Let's switch over. So if we look at, I just want to show you as of today, or as of this yesterday, rather, because it's looking at really where our types are. If I look at where we are, we've gotten thus far about 30.6% of our total voter base in Escambia County. And if you look at that, that's this 212,343 number that we're looking at here. That is exceptional for the first week of early voting. That does include early voting as well as mail-in ballots that have been received thus far. Total overall, like I said, is 30.6%. If we look at where Democrats are in terms of total votes cast here in Escambia County, we're about 30.6% of our total voter base here in Escambia County. Republicans are outpacing us just slightly by 6 percentage points, almost 7. So they're about at 37% of our voter base. And our NPA votes are kind of lagging in terms of their voter base that has come out at right at 20.1%. So they don't have a lot, but we need to get everybody engaged in this. Now, these are fantastic numbers for the first week of early voting. I am very optimistic in terms of voter turnout. That is what I would say. If I look at our counties next to us in Santa Rosa County, they kind of look a little bit differently. Their total count is about 33%, almost 34% of their total voter base. As you see, we've got a total number of registered voters of 143,036. Look, if you look at it, we've got about 7,770 of their total total number of Democrats that have cast their ballots over their base, which is right about, if I'm not mistaken, 36%. Let me just double check. So I'm not giving you that. Yeah, 36% of their total voter base. Same with Republicans. They are at 36% as well. And you see our NPA or other voters are turning out just slightly thereunder. So we still got some work to do in terms, they're seeing, as we look at it, as a percent, the same number of voters are turning out in each one. Now, if we look at Okaloosa, they are doing the same thing. If we look at, they've got a total number of eligible voters of about 150,000. And they're running just about the same turnout. They're at about 33. Their voter turnouts are, in terms of each one of their party, is looking consistent with the rest of the other two counties. So we're doing well in terms of our voter base. So I want to make sure that everybody still continues to come out, because 30% is great, but we got a lot of work to do. We need to see, if we want to see Madam Vice President Kamala Harris get into office, as well as the other down ballot candidates. We got a lot more work to do. So we're going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you to come out. If you're looking for opportunities to vote this week in terms of early voting, my advice to you would be to go to if you're in Escambia County, go to the Brownsville Community Center, because it is one of the only centers that you can get, only voting places that you can get in and out of without a line. If you're at the Escambia County Extension Office, or Asbury, which is the old Cokesbury across from PJC, that the Bellevue Library or the Southwest Library out by me on Old Gulf Beach Highway, those are averaging about a 45-minute wait time to get out to vote. That's how long those lines are. I was asked by had the opportunity to go to several polling locations this week, and I was asked to share for somebody they said, Derek, can you please share with your viewers the following information? The poll workers are there to help you, but if you need help, please allow them a little bit of extra time, because they are there to assist, but they do need to assist you as well as other voters. If you have someone that you can bring with you to offer some of the additional assistance that you need, that is encouraged. All you have to do is have the person come with you. They present their photo ID, they sign a form, an affidavit with the supervisor of elections, and they can provide whatever assistance that you think you are going to need, whether it is visual impairment, someone to help you mark the ballot, whatever it is that you need. If you need a little bit of extra assistance, they are willing to provide you with that, but you need to be just a little patient, because as you can tell, we've had quite an explosive number of individuals voting these past few days. I got a lot of phone calls from folks who had expressed concern with the marquee at the Vickery Center. The Vickery Center is located on Summit Boulevard. You might know it as Roger Scott. Their marquee was all last week told people to come out and vote on Election Day on November the 8th. So as we know, that is real wrong. So I called Mr. Bender, the supervisor of elections here in Escambia County, and they got right on it. The marquee is fixed, and it now says November 5th, like it should. So if you're driving by, no need to call. It should say the correct date on it. But if you notice any irregularities, please give the Escambia Democratic Party a call at 850-407-7997. Again, that's 850-407-7997, and we will be able to assist you. Likewise, additionally, if you need a ride to the polls, if you are one of these individuals that just wants to go vote, but can't seem to find a way to get to the polling place, please give us a call. Again, 850-407-7997. Just let us know. We will get you to the poll. Now, I'm going to give you a caveat. We take you to the polls, we wait with you, and then we drive you home. Those individuals, we often get requests to stop by CVS, stop by Popeye, stop by Walmart. Can you run me to the corner store? Can you run me by Sally's? We're not making those stops. So if you need a ride, we're happy to provide you that ride. But please know we're taking you to the poll, and we will drop you off at your residence. That is at no charge, and we are happy to do that. But please don't ask us if you give us $5. Can you drive me to the
The liquor
CVS,
store.
to the liquor store, wherever you gotta go? Because we're not doing it. We can't get no scratchers. We can't get any of that stuff. So please don't ask. We are happy to get you to and from the polls to exercise your civic duty. We are willing to do that, but it never fails. We had people drive this week and they asked, can you run by Dollar General? And I'm like, unfortunately not. I can't. We have people who like, well, I always get a celebratory Whopper. Can we go by Burger King? Well, you're gonna have to DoorDash that. I can't help. So, like I'm not going to Burger King. I appreciate you voting, but no, I'm not taking the Burger King. So
Oh gosh.
just make sure, again, if you need a ride, don't hesitate to give us a call. That's 850-407-7997. And we will be happy to take you to the polls because we know how critical this election cycle is.
But don't ask for no burgers.
Don't ask for no burger.
Don't ask
for no burger.
Hey, Derek.
Now, if you want to take your driver by the gas station, no, I'm just kidding. I was like, they might be happy to stop by that. But, outside of that, I'm thinking they're good. Yes, sir, Mr. Vernon.
Before maybe we're gonna cover this tonight, but before we end tonight, I had a question posed to me today to ask us to discuss about the judges and whether they would information on where they can get information about the judges. Now, if I'm correct, I recommend them that we vote against all the judges and all of the amendments except 3 and 4. But they said, well,
Yes.
I'm going to do my own research on the judges. Where can they find the information about the judges?
Right. So I'm not sure if Christina's in the chat. We have a list of, she gives some information on where they are. I'm trying to see if I can find where that detail is regarding the judges, the justices, and the amendments. So certainly while we're talking, I will look for that and provide that some our websites if we can. And I will send them to you, or I'll share the screen so that everybody can see them themselves. But yeah, to answer your question, certainly we all recommend, whether you're in Escambia, Santa Rosa, or Okaloosa, to vote no on the 2 justices, which is Renata Francis and Meredith Sasso. Those are the Supreme Court justices they were both appointed by DeSantis. And although one of them is a woman of color, she's of Jamaican descent, she is still not for us. So we recommend a no vote on those. And then again, if you are in Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, Walton, Bay, yada, 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 you have 3 First District Court of Appeals judges, which are Judge Stephanie Ray, Judge Bradford Thomas, and Judge Kimberly Thomas. And they are Judge Stephanie Ray, we all recommend to vote no on that. Judge Stephanie Ray is a member of the Federalist Society. She sat out on the redistricting case that took place here in Florida. Judge Bradford Thomas does not believe in landmark First Amendment decision and cites Clarence Thomas as a backup, and was one of the deciding judges to allow DeSantis's gerrymandering of the maps that make us look in the red state that we are currently under, and have a Republican supermajority. And lastly, Judge Kimberly Thomas is a no. He was part of the 3-judge panel that allowed the gerrymandering redistricting as well. So I have some links. I found the link. I'll put it in the chat, Mr. Vernon. If you want to put it in your YouTube chat, I'll put it in the Zoom chat, as well as those who are on Facebook. I will share it there as well. And Mr. Vernon, if you want to pick them up and put it in the on your YouTube page and share it with those folks, we can.
And there also, if people if they don't know, they need to have a sample ballot or something that they can take in with them to let, so they'll know that these are the judges that need to go, and these are the ones that might stay, but these are all the judges that we are voting against. The amendments, all that we are voting against, except 3 and 4. I know we are saying this, repeating it, but by the same token, people get in there and get confused sometimes, and they look at those ballots. So they take it in there with them, and they can just check it off what they got on there and bring it on back out with them.
But Derek,
Yep.
double check that to make sure they can take it in there with them. My
Oh, I
wife,
know they can.
they can. Okay.
Yeah,
My
Yeah,
wife
they
used to
can.
work at the polls, and she told me that they were not allowed to take anything in there with them. So I don't know.
No, they absolutely can
can.
take.
Okay,
They can
they
take it.
can. Uh-huh.
great.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's the
Yeah,
good
they
part.
can take that. We have, and I think both Movement for Change has sample ballots available. I believe you guys still have. If not, we will bring you some. But certainly the Escambia Democratic Party, we have sample ballots as well as slate cards available. So even if you get to a polling, if you're in Escambia County and you are going to one of the early voting locations, we have what are called poll greeters that are sitting outside outside of the precincts of the polling locations with all the voting information you would like. So that would include sample ballots as well as their slate cards. If you've not seen the slate cards here in Escambia County, they look something like this. Is a one card. It's got the front, has the candidates on the back. It's got the recommendations for the amendments as well as the Supreme Court justices. So you can pick one of those up, and again, you can take that with you into the polling location. It is actually illegal for them to restrict you from bringing it. Now, what you cannot do is you cannot leave the information at the polling. Like if you go into the little booth or the little table thing and mark it, you have to bring the sample ballot back out or your slate card back out. You can't leave it at the booth there for you, but you absolutely can take it and use it in the polling location. So that feel free to do that. And Mr. McIntosh, I will turn it back over to you.
Yeah, I just as you know, there are 3 GOP attorney generals seeking to revise the Mayor Prestone. Am I saying that right? That I guess it's like an abortion pill that the night after, whatever they call it. But anyway, they are trying to force women to have babies. The case they use is saying if the women don't have babies, the state might lose might lose congressional seats, or it could be end up smaller than some of the other states, which is I think it's Kansas and 2 other states. But they want forced birth. They want to institute forced birth on women in these states. So they letting you know that they intend to uh, force women to be incubators, you know, but nobody forcing men to do the same thing, which none of us want. But I'm just saying, if you're going to put that kind of restriction on women, then you need to, in reverse, do the same thing to yourself, if that's what you believe. But they don't want to do that. They just want to force women to have children, even if there's been rape or incest or any of those things, or if the woman is sick and I'm not sick, but baby is born outside of the womb or something. Uh, they want to, even if the baby dies inside the woman, they want that woman to take that baby to term, even though it could set up septics, any kind of all kinds of problems. She may not be able to have children again, but they want her to take it to term. So they have filed a suit, and they intend to take it all the way to the Supreme Court to make sure. And they figure they got the 6 people they need to bring it to fruition.
Jerry,
So
I think that might work. That just might backfire on them. I think that, and it's really designed for white women, but
right,
yeah, but women of color still outbaby them 2-1, right? So
right.
I mean, I don't understand the logic. If they're gonna force birth, I think people of color still gonna have more children than they do, and I don't understand the point. Unless they're gonna put
Right.
restrictions on women of color, and not put restrictions on white women. I don't understand the logic. Help me understand that.
Right. That's what I'm trying to figure out how because I've always said if it was just black women and brown women having abortions, you can go to McDonald's and get one. But now that they want white women to have them babies, and they're gonna make sure, and I mean they are gonna force them to have children, you know, and so that's what's so ironic about what's taking place. But they are not willing to put the same restriction on themselves, that they are on women. But what's going to happen to the men who and some of those men that get women pregnant are married, you know. So yes, so that what's going to happen there?
Hey, Jerry, they'll probably take that
Uh,
old church attitude. Remember back in the day, a woman got
mm,
pregnant in church, she get kicked out of church, but
yeah,
the preacher and the man who got her pregnant didn't.
right. Then force the woman to apologize, stand up before the church and
Exactly.
apologize. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I ever seen.
Sure was.
And some churches
And
still
still
do.
is, they still doing it, right? Exactly.
Somebody got to apologize to you. That's between her and God, and well, don't be no apology for what you done. But that's the kind of mindset that's out there that need to be changed quickly.
Well, it's all
But
about power. Trying to this whole thing is about power and control, okay, of this country, because they know that they are going to lose power and control if they don't try to control with their power over people of color. But
mm,
I think it's a little late now, because I think it's out of the gate. It ain't if we're going to uh, be a majority in this country. It just is a matter of when. What they're doing, they're just slowing down the process. At one time, they ain't projected that America would be of color by 2030. Now they shipped it down to 2050. But whenever it's
mm,
going to be, it is going to be. And
mm,
but what I think what they want to do, they know that they can't slow that down. But what they want to do is set up a situation where they can have a kind of like an apartheid type of situation, where even though they're going to be the minority, but they still want to control the power structure. And so
right.
uh, apartheid. So I think that's it's the ultimate goal, and that's what folks have to realize. What this all this is about. All this DEI and all this other stuff about immigrants coming in the country. That's all it's about. They just don't want. It is called the browning of America, and it's
Hmm.
going to happen.
It has already happened, and you're right. It's by minority rule. Even though you're not the majority, but you can rule from economically from a minority standpoint.
Right.
And it's still happening in South Africa, even though the apartheid regime is out of power. But the people who still own the mines and the money and the economics there are still white people. A minority of white people. The farmland, all of the diamond mines and gold and oil and everything else. It's not owned by black people. This is why these younger people are saying they want that land. They want their grandparents' land back. And they say we don't mind sharing, but we're not gonna. You can't have it all. We want some of our grandparents' land back, our great grandparents that you stole it from
Right.
and taken it from through murder and mayhem. So that's where they're at over there. But it's the same thing happening here. And you can see it happening in other places too around the world. So,
And it should happen here too, Jared. All the property that stolen from people of color all these years, you know, uh, that property should be given back to the rightful owners, the rightful heirs of that property. That's why we can't.
right,
That's why we don't have generational wealth because it's it is stolen. It was stolen from us.
right. And, people don't realize that over 60 towns that were built by black people were burnt to the ground. And that means even places like in New York and the Central Park was a city in itself for black people.
Look at the town.
Yeah.
Vernon, I will say this, just push back on your last comment. I believe that that's partly why we don't have generational wealth from that perspective of the theft of land. But I believe we're taking out the we have a problem from within inside the house, is why we don't have generational wealth like we should.
Well, when you think
Well, hold on. Expand on that. Let's get into the house now. Let's see. But you got
Okay,
to understand
so
why when you got to understand why they're in the house and but expand on
okay,
your
so
theory.
from within, I mean that in that the saying like the call is coming from inside the house. We have although there was land taken from our ancestors, right? We still have an opportunity, and we've had opportunity amongst us to create the generational wealth that we talk about. Instead, what we're choosing to spend our money on and what we're choosing to invest in is not the generational wealth. So, although both things can be true. That yes, some people are owed land that was stolen from their ancestors, right? But we also have a problem with in our community that we don't work together enough to build and create the generational wealth that we want.
I don't disagree with that totally, but I do disagree with partly.
Okay.
I'm thinking in terms of the reason we are where we are is because of what happened in the past that caused
Right.
us not to have generational wealth, and
Right.
it may be a chilling effect. I'm not even sure about that, but it just very well may be. But I'm thinking in terms of Cheryl, not only the land that was taken from black people, by force, and their
Mhm.
land promised to black folks, like our 40 acres in the Mew, their
Right.
land that was taken by deceptive means. And Jerry, you know what I'm talking. When you was in the farm, right? You know my grandfather my great grandfather was able to amass 600 acres of land, and he divided all his land against his children. But all that land was eventually stolen from them based on the fact that they couldn't meet. They had a bad crop, and they couldn't meet a $400 400 my grandparents, okay, my great grandparents, I think my daddy's daddy, well, my daddy's mama, he died. He had 78 acres of land, right? He died in the middle of a crop season, died in July, okay? My grandmother and my father and his brother wasn't able to harvest everything to pay a $400 bill, okay, that he had that they had made to, to buy the seeds and all that other kind of stuff for this thing. So they lost their land, 60 acres of land for $400. A lot. And that was just one example of how, and a lot of black folks lost property based on bullshit like that. So
Right.
we can't have, we owed a lot of stuff in this country, Cheryl.
Right.
But I don't disagree with what you're saying about that. We got an opportunity now to try to rebuild some generational wealth. But the only way
Right.
we're going to be able to do that by owning land and owning business and doing stuff like that.
Right.
Money is not just going to pass hands, because we don't have the kinds of millionaires like our white counterparts have that they die and leave us money.
Right. But we don't. But we don't. We also don't really need that. Just like your grandparents were able to accumulate that in a time where I'm sure they didn't have master's degrees available to them, and the opportunities weren't out there like they are today. So if they could amass all of that during that time, what is to stop us now? You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's all I mean. Because I hear and I get into conversations about, the past and what has happened. I am totally in agreement that there is some reparations owed. In the meantime, and while they figure that out, we can use the opportunities that exist around us to create and build together, and it can happen.
I think I get what you're saying. I get what both of you two are saying. I think I lean a little bit more towards Cheryl's points. So I think even with the opportunities that we've had, I don't think when we look at it on a comparative standpoint, looking at non-people of color, we don't have the same financial literacy or expertise that you see on within white people and how to handle and invest and build, taking one piece of property, whether it be an acre or 2 acres, and being able to invest accordingly and borrow off of that property or the equity in that property to amass other properties. We haven't gotten that same. We're hindered in that path, not because the information isn't available to us, because they have a 400-year head start,
Right.
and than we do. So we're what they learned and started getting in 1770, whatever, and then moved on. We're picking up in 1970, 80, 90. And so we're trying to learn that same technique. And then to Cheryl's point, we don't have the capital need to be able to get it. We can build, but I think it's got to be a conscious decision to direct your money where it goes to build it. If I made it plain, a 14-karat gold bust down chain isn't necessary, because that doesn't appreciate. However, if you take that amount of money and put it into a piece of land or putting it into an IRA that you can build and invest upon and then start doing it, or a life insurance annuity or whatever the case may be, to build on that instead of buying 2 pair of Jordans, maybe buy what's them tennis shoes? The New Balance. Buy a pair.
Right. And also, if we look at the money that let's say from 25 to 40, right? What is spent popping bottles or making it rain? If you just put that kind of money away, or the $700 hairstyles, just saying, it's not that we have to look crazy when we leave out the house, but the money that we spend can be put into our children's IULs and other investments to build that generational wealth that we're talking about. It doesn't, and it doesn't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It just starts with, something consistently.
But I use, for example, where I went wrong. Well, I won't say where I went, but I look at, to your point, the ages of 23 to whatever. I spent every month, like Cheryl. Well, I was going to reference Cheryl because she's the only person that has dreads in her. So I went through from 2000 to 2009 with dreads. And every week I was meticulous about getting my hair retwisted. And I did so every Saturday. I was in the chair, and that was $120 every Saturday. And I did that for 8 years straight. That's a piece of property, right? When you look at it, that I could have just gone to a $20 haircut or whatever the case may be. But I was meticulous. I always wanted to see my parts in my hair. That was my thing. Growth bothered me. So I wanted parts. I had to see the parts. And so I did it literally every week for 8 years. So I don't say it's a frivolous investment because I worked in a corporate profession, so I wanted to look all right. But I ain't have to spend $120 every week. I could have because I know my brother.
Now think about how much
have locks, and I know they don't spend $120 every week. I know they don't get their hair retwisted every week. I think I was OCD with that, but
think about that close to $500 a month.
Yeah.
With compounded interest.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
9 years. Now,
yes.
Now look what.
And even if you did nothing else with it and then you just let it sit.
Yeah.
And see, you don't have the money nor the dreads. 9 years later.
Right. That's my point.
I'm just saying, dog.
Yeah, I look. I don't. You get no arguments from me. Like I hear you.
But that's a good point. I mean, that's a great example. And $120 today is nothing. I was shocked when I heard my granddaughter talking about spending $400 and $500 for a hairdo. I was shocked why would they spend that kind of money on a hairdo. And like you said, they do it on a regular basis. Even
you can't have the hair done without the nails, and you can't have the nails done without the toes. And if you're gonna do all of that, you need the lashes to go with it. You know what I mean? And then you go into this spiral, and then by the time you look around, it's like they all have to get done again. And we find the money to be able to do that. So you can't tell me we can't create generational wealth. We absolutely can. We are a great people. For your grandparents to accumulate the land that they did at a time when it was unheard of, when people right out of slavery were able to build communities, with little to no education because it was against the law to read. So at this point, I'm gonna point the finger at us, pointing the inward, but at us. Because we can do whatever it is that we put our mind to it.
But after they came out and built these towns, when they were burnt to the ground, it demoralized people.
It would. I mean, Tulsa, the town that they Rosewood, and all these other. Yeah. We have a lot of instances where that happened, but that doesn't stop us from building.
Yeah, but what it did, when you demoralize the people after they use their skills to build something, you think about when you think about generational wealth, there were hotels and places like Tulsa. There were places all over this country, in Texas and other places. Black people had hotels, they had schools, they had churches, they had all kinds of centers that they would go to, and they had a locked community where they were trading with each other, where the money stayed in the community for days rather than an hour.
Right.
They had access to their own economy. But once that was destroyed, trying to get money just to get your seed in the ground was a problem. To this day, the federal government has supplied money and everything else for farmers, white farmers. Black farmers are still fighting to get what they deserve. When we were coming up, it used to be a time when you could only buy a certain amount of insurance, up to $3,000. You couldn't buy $100,000 worth of insurance,
We could only buy burial insurance, Jerry. You're right.
burial insurance, right? So, all of those things had a psychological effect that we didn't know that the other people was buying this kind of policies. They were buying $25,000-$30,000 policy, whole life policy, which produce dividends. And they can borrow from that insurance policy. All of those things that they were doing, we didn't have the knowledge because wasn't nobody teaching us. And then when we began to get the knowledge, then they began to change the rules again. But when you think about it, all the land that we are talking about, you think about it, these people plummeted these communities before they burned them to the ground. They didn't just burn them to the ground; they plummeted those communities. They took the resources out of the people's homes and the nice things that they had, and they took them home to their family. While our family was out in the woods, out in the swamp, trying to survive from them and their dogs hunting them down. So the same thing that happened, like Elaine, Arkansas, whether it's here in Florida, whether it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, New York City, other places around Texas, Louisiana. It was just a whole host of things that have taken place that caused us to be psychologically sometimes thinking that we can't do because somebody's going to take it. And then, the only place we had to escape to, and you're talking about your life. You weren't just talking about the resources. You're talking about your life. There was many people killed because they were, they were determined to keep their land, so they killed them. Case in point, Elaine, Arkansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma, right here in Florida and other places around the country. In the early 1900s, it was like a purge that took place.
Right.
Race, they call it a riot. It wasn't no riot. It was massacre. It was race massacre that took place all over the country, where they was purging Black people, and law enforcement was engaged in it, and the federal government and all of them had a part in it because they didn't do anything about it, the federal government. And only in the late 60s did you have the Justice Department working to help quell some of the stuff that state people would not do anything about. Whether, if you was in the deep South in these different states, the police weren't going to do anything. The FBI wasn't going to do anything. Very few of them did anything at all. So the Justice Department was the one that came in to help them. But then, by the same token, the Justice Department left right back out. So it left us to the whim of these people, and it, kept us away from accessing economic information, and kept us from getting money that was needed to be a home, to buy land, to buy property. So I know when we were growing up, people would have waistline parties and stuff like that to help get a child to college. Everybody in that community was working to try to get that person that wanted to go to college. So it wasn't like they could, easily access those finances or get loans and all of that, because they wouldn't give them to them, because they wanted you to work the farm, even though you had the skills. See, and that's the thing. When we came out of slavery, a lot of us couldn't read, but we had skills. See, and because we had skills before we got here, we just couldn't read the English language. We weren't allowed to read the language in their books. But the skills, we had them when we came off the farm, because we were the one that was doing it. We were the one that was building. We were the one that did all of the farm labor. We were the one that built, even Washington, D.C.
and laid it out.
You know,
And laid it out.
yeah.
Yeah. And Jerry, you know the atrocity that was done on black folk. I mean, they owe us a lot of money. The only time bomb ever been dropped on American soil was dropped on
Mm-hmm.
black folks community. Okay, and you think that's not true? Back in even in Tulsa, they took airplanes and dropped bombs on there. And then let's fast forward 30 years later. They tricked Wilson Good into dropping bombs on his own people in
In
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I,
Just
yeah.
the only time bombs been dropped on
And
American soil has been on black folks.
black folks. It's that's the same thing with nuclear bomb. It was done on darker people were when you
Exactly.
talk about and all that. So it wasn't dropped on anybody else. They would, except during Germany, the war, because they were fighting each other. But
Jerry, but you know that they didn't drop any bombs. They didn't drop any nuclear bombs over in
no,
Germany.
they didn't
They
do no
dropped only
nuclear bomb.
drop it on. They only used the nuclear bombs on people of color.
Yeah.
I wonder how that changes over time, because the time frame that you're speaking of, especially with the move bombings in Philadelphia, that was like the 80s, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Maybe fine.
Fast forward to now, where we have more people of color in law enforcement, in the positions of elected officials, and soon to be hopefully the president of the United States again. How do you think that would change with these? Doesn't that put us in a better position of holding on to our land and not being bombed and being able to build without retribution?
Well, that depends on who become president. If say for instance Trump become president, and he's saying he want to be a dictator, right? That means that everything you own, if his buddies want it, they can come get it, and there's nothing you can do about it because the court says he got total immunity. If he do, then he want to give law enforcement total immunity, meaning they can kill you, do whatever they want to you, and it'd be just like in slavery. And then he talking about deporting massive amount of people, over 11 million people. He talking about deporting. Now you think about that, and he already saying he gonna reverse the Haitians' protected status in the country. But you and I, all us, look like Haitians. We look like our brothers and sisters in Africa and Haiti and all the other places. How they gonna know the difference? They're not gonna care. That's what's so dangerous about him coming to power. And the wrong person come to power, yeah, they can do the same thing, and they will do it. They will do it. And you can see what's happening in Palestine and all that. And the world is paralyzed to do anything to stop this major catastrophe over there. So you think about if something happened to us here in the United States, who's going to come to our rescue? Nobody, except us.
Yeah, and it's always been that way. We've only throughout history, and the examples that we've talked about throughout this evening has been of us being put in situations, right, that cost us a great deal, and it's always at the hands of other people. So when I guess I'm trying to figure out how we can learn from those past mistakes, dating all the way back from slavery and all of the massacres and things like that, and use what we have right now, the education, the status, the ability to make money in ways that we never were before, how we can learn and not allow history to repeat itself.
The only thing we got going for us right now, Cyril, is the vote. Is a vote. Okay, so that
Right.
you get people in there so you don't do that. If Trump get in there, he's talking about mass flotation of uh, and all of them are people of color. Okay, and so this harkens back to the days of slavery, where you had free slaves and you had free people of color, and then you had slaves. And you always had to take your papers with you. Okay, I don't want to live in a world where, because I look like a Haitian, that I get deported because I didn't have my driver's license with me. I didn't have my passport with me. I had to carry around some credentials. No, the only thing they need is a good reason to get you out of the country. Why would we want to live like that? We shouldn't live
Right.
like that. It's the 20th century. So that is what we are looking at if we get this damn food in there. And he's not he would actually do this. Okay,
Yeah,
Oh,
so do.
I
he
don't
was
doubt it. I
empowered to
do
do this.
not doubt that
And
he would do everything that he's talked about doing.
yeah, and
You know,
also
Cheryl.
to people of color now, not the white people. That there's
Right.
no he has no all of the people that immigrants in this country comes in here supposedly legal, but they're not. Are white people. Okay, what they do is they just overstay the visas and nobody ever
Right.
pushes back against it. Okay, and the other folks
Right.
have to try to come in through a silence and sneak in any way they can. So, but there's no consequences on white people because when we get them with the racists, that's what you got. Okay, so I'm saying
And,
he's gonna support them. Go ahead, Jerry.
I was gonna say one of the things that we had in our favor was the Constitution and free speech.
Yep.
That was one of the things that we had. Um, we could speak about the conditions, and we could argue
They call that
our
democracy.
yeah, we could argue in our democracy for our freedom and some justice, somewhat. We have never gotten what we deserve as far as justice. We have never gotten what we deserve economically. We have never gotten what we deserve from law enforcement by protecting us from the fears, vitriol, and the violence that came with it, and never been protected from that. So we had to go nonviolence to keep from being wiped off the planet because they had the weapons, they had the military, they had all of that against us. But we went nonviolence and spoke to the conscience of the nation to try to end some of the things. But what Trump is saying and his minions, they're saying they're going to reverse the civil rights movement. Everything that took place during the civil rights, they're going to get rid of that part of it. They want to get rid of that. They want to get rid of education because you can't really control a smart people. Not on that level. They're not just going to go along with you. But if you don't have somewhat of education, so you can somewhat read the room, as they say, and see who's doing what. That's why we have so many issues in the country with Trump. This man is an existential threat to the well-being of Black people in particular. And even he would be a threat to his own people because he calling them the enemy within. He want to get rid of the media. If the media don't agree with him, he want to get rid of that. He want to get rid of anybody that's his opponent that run against him. He want to be just like Putin when just 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, one of his people that one of the oligarchs that he disagreed with come tumbling out the window, like the other one did, but he disagreed with Putin on business. So he doing these people automatically jump out the window to their death.
Right.
So, but this is the kind of life, this is what Trump is promoting in this country. And anybody Black that vote for him is voting for their own demise. Especially if the Black men they're talking about voting for him, they're voting. because he gonna co-opt you, but then he's gonna put you away. You know,
I don't think it's that many Black men that's actually supporting this.
I don't either, but I think there are a few who are dumb enough to vote for.
But there's always like just that law of large numbers. There's always in the whole grand scheme of things, I think that is a very, very small percentage of Black men that actually go along with his antics. And out of the ones, like, I do my own little, mini poll, but out of the ones that I've talked to that actually entertain any of it, half of them aren't even registered to vote. So the ones that are actively out there voting and know, have some level of experience with campaigns and voting, they're not voting for him.
So I'm going to say this. I started out to say it, but since we're on the subject, I'm going to say it. And I'm going to choose my words carefully as to not damage. But so I've been to several polling locations this week. And I've have the privilege of knowing random folks who work at polls in Escambia County. And in the overwhelming theme in conversations, wherever they may be, there's been an alarming number of Black folks who have checked on their early voting ballot that first mark under the president.
What?
Alarming number. And so I say this to say, and just as we talked, guess who they happen to be? Like me. So I say that to say, please, the number is, as we talked about, I think in Escambia County, a little higher than what we would probably think it would. And even in Santa Rosa County, I've had similar conversations with folks who work in Santa Rosa County as well. And yeah, so it's unfortunate, right? And if you ask me, if I'm honest, I blame the Harris campaign locally. They spend a lot of time making sure that their enthusiastic white voters come out to vote and do what they needed to do in communities of color. And so with that, when somebody said it, there was somebody who said it wonderfully this week. I couldn't say it better. I don't know why y'all spend that much time with those folks. That's like taking sand to the beach. You need to be focused on communities of color where you know you need to get out the vote. And now we're going to see the impact of that. Now I hope and pray that it is not detrimental. So I say this to you who have not gone to go vote to make up for the lunacy that is those who have gone to place a vote for Donald Trump and Republicans, counted their votes. So we need everybody to come out and vote correctly. Because we've been talking about everybody getting out to vote, but we need to be talking about everybody getting out to vote and voting correctly, right? So, I say that to say this, we have some work. We've left note, you guys, we've been here talking about this ad nauseum for the last 2 years on this show about folks getting out to vote. And when we needed to get folks out to vote, when we needed the extra help, they failed to deliver. So, you know.
It's unfortunate, Derek, that and I know what you're saying is true because I've seen it up close and personal when volunteering for the Hillary Clinton campaign, and how disjointed it was when there were people on deck ready to work, and it's like, no, we don't need that. It's almost as if the Black vote is taken for granted, that we're going to, or especially with that campaign, it was the Black women vote. It's no reaching across to get everybody involved. That everybody in the Democratic Party should be involved with and working together to make sure that there's a win. Knowing the importance of this campaign, there's no reason why there's not a concerted effort to make sure everybody that is registered, Black, white, brown, yellow, orange, whatever. Well, maybe not orange, but
yeah, you be voting for the
that
wrong
everybody
person.
is involved. And it's unfortunate. I pray that it gets better, but I just want to speak to the people who have not yet voted. We have just over 8 days, and every year they say this is the most important election of all times. I would say that this has to be it. We have never been in a situation where we've had someone seeking the office of the president that is this close to a dictator, that has spoken openly about taking rights away from the people, who is convicted of 34 felonies, who has been impeached twice, who has incited an insurrection, who has
Right.
just been said the most racist and disrespectful things to our veterans in a town where there is about how many military bases do we have in like a 50-mile radius? In a military town like Pensacola, there's no reason in the world why this man should be at the top of people's minds, as far as like, oh, let me go out and vote for him because he's for us. He's not, and he said that. People with disabilities, or people who have children or family members with disabilities, the way he mocked people with disabilities, the way he mocked our 4-star generals, someone who never served, who never had a job. And he's talking about people who are I'm talking about our immigrants, who are hardworking, law-abiding for the most part. And I don't understand how there are some people that still say, after all of that, that's my guy. It just doesn't make sense. And as the only woman on the panel this evening, I have a huge problem, and I've said this many, many times, of men having a conversation about women parts and making decisions and have no knowledge of what any of that means. Men can talk about ovaries and reproductive systems all they want. They will never understand what that means. To have a child, to be pregnant with a child and know that that child is no longer alive. And you can't do anything, and you can't go to a doctor to get help because they're afraid of being arrested. This is like people's lives. So I don't understand how men with wives or girlfriends or daughters and granddaughters can say, that's my guy. It's talk about working towards your own detriment. Supporting someone who really, if you look over the course of this man's life and he lived 45 minutes from where I live. So everything he did was our local news. And from the 1980s to now, it's always been negative. You call him a businessman. I know businessmen. There are businessmen on this call who've earned their stripes in business. No one has given you $400 million, and you blew it and borrowed even more and blew that too. That does not make you a good businessman. That makes you a freaking idiot. But I digress.
Will you tell them what's on your mind, Cheryl?
I know. I'm sorry. It just, I mean, I just don't understand. I don't see him, to be full transparent, I don't see him winning at all. But it's showing me how much we'll work towards our own detriment.
Well, Cheryl, I want to go back to what you started off saying earlier, and you were talking about the call within the house, and you don't understand why Black folks. You didn't say that, but you said it in words that, in following the Derek point too, why Black folk would vote for the Republicans. I don't fully understand it either, but let me tell you, the voice, the ending within, it might be us in the mirror. Okay, and let me just give you a case in point. Somebody just said just a few minutes ago about while taking us for granted, taking Black. I kind of think we're being Black folks. I think we are being taken for granted sometimes. Some people just make an assumption about certain things. I don't think our party, I'm a Democrat and I'm a proud Democrat, but I don't think they reach out enough to the folks that are Democrats, okay, and says, I want your vote. Okay? They don't do that. They're not doing that. They just assume that you're Black and you're a Democrat, whether you're Black or not, you're gonna vote for us.
Yeah.
I'm running an ad on my station now for the Republican Party. The chair of their Republican Party came on the station, looked into the camera, asking Black folks to vote for the Republican Party. Okay? And I don't know what that says to me is that at least they got the galls to come in and say, I want your vote. And then they can cite that's what Democrats not asking for your vote. Okay? Democrats just taking you for granted. We can do this for you. And so I also emailed the Florida Democratic Party and said, well, why don't y'all do something similar to counteract that? And all I heard was cricket. And so
you're telling me that the Harris campaign has not placed ads with WBQP?
No, not the campaign, no.
Oh wow. No. And see that says a lot.
Right there. I'm glad you're saying, oh wow. I feel like you did that to make a point, because that lady wasn't gonna place no ads with nobody on Black.
And see,
let's be clear. When I say that lady, let's be clear. I want to be abundantly clear to the audience, to those who are watching. When I say that lady, I don't mean Kamala Harris or anybody at the national level or people like that. I am talking specifically about the field office here in Pensacola, and who is running that office.
Correct. I think I know the answer to this, but WBQP is a Black-owned television station. Am I correct? One of the only ones in this Gulf Coast area, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're not mistaken.
Yeah. Okay. And that is what I'm talking about on taking the Black vote for granted. The Harris campaign has accumulated $1 billion. And to not invest, and I'm sure you're not asking for $72 million worth of advertising at your station, but a fair amount of commercial space during this important election would seem reasonable, right?
You would think so, but it goes back to it's deeper than that, Cheryl. White folks and black folks alike really don't see much value into black media. Okay? We great when we're doing something free. Okay? If we want to get the word out there, and as long as we're not paying for it, we the best thing since sliced. But if they have to pay for it, they don't see much value in it. They start putting the numbers on you. Well, you don't cover this. You don't have this many numbers. You don't have that kind of stuff on there. So it's not it's but
So
all the money but I want to be fair about it. I do now Val reached out. Val is advertising with
No, not Val. You mean Gay.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm called Val.
Yeah.
Gay Bellamont. Gay Bellamont.
Gay Vallimont for
Gay
Congress.
Bellamont.
Thank you.
Haley.
Hey,
Haley's spending money
you.
with us.
Haley Morissette for state rep.
I reached out to Debbie. They say they're gonna spend some money with me. We on the
But
home
we're
stretch of
talking
that.
about the Harris
I'm
campaign.
talking about the Harris campaign.
Has-
Let me tell you now. They no now. I want to be fair about it. They did. I've been corresponding with them for several months now. Okay, and so they did reach out to Hill late last week, last Thursday, last Friday, for radio ads. Okay, they did reach out to him for the Harris Harris campaign. Okay, and I questioned myself. Okay, what about TV? They said, well, the lady that's in charge of it wasn't in charge of TV. She was just in charge of radio. So, but they hadn't done any TV stuff at all. But I agree with it.
An election is what, 8 days away?
Yeah, so I don't have any reasonable expectations that they would do anything at this late gate,
Right.
in the game.
Especially 30% of the folks have voted early.
Yeah.
So
Well, look,
the
say
supervisor election saw needed. They did do business with us, so that they'll let folks know how to vote, when to vote, and stuff like that. Then I got a couple of the local, an independent person reached out and he did something. But you would think even on the down ballots and the local level that they would be reaching out, but for whatever reason, they don't. They're not.
I don't want everybody to be on this show and then watching and we're like, Derek, you don't spend no money. Let's be clear. Derek doesn't have the Escambia Democrats don't have money to spend. You know, when we have, I paid you to do a couple of things for us. When we have, but we just don't have it.
Hey, Derek, hold on. You probably need to clarify that. The black Escambia Democrats don't have any money. Okay, I can't imagine that the Democratic Party overall don't have money.
No. I am the Democratic Party overall for Escambia County.
Okay,
and I'm saying we don't have money now.
You mean to tell me out of that $1 billion, they didn't get
Again, wait. You're talking about two different things. Those are two different things. That's why I want to clarify what we're talking about. Because the Escambia Democratic Party, or the DEC, is funded strictly through donations of individuals here in Pensacola. So people give $10, $20, yada, yada, yada. We do the fundraisers. That's where we get our money. We get no other funding from any place else, not from the Florida Democratic Party, not from the Democratic National Committee, not from any other source. It solely comes from faithful Democrats in Escambia County who on a monthly basis have recurring donations of $5, $10, $20. That literally is it. And if I'm being honest, if I'm being brutally honest, because I'll tell it on this TV, just so people are clear, we get on average on a monthly basis about $775, which is enough literally just to cover our rent, our telephone, and our internet, and maybe buy some ink. That's it. We don't get any other money from any place else. Now, that $1 billion that you are talking about is the $1 billion or whatever that amount is. I don't know if it's a billion, maybe it's a billion. I don't know this, but that's raised from the Kamala Harris campaign. The Harris campaign has money that they allocate wherever it goes. I'll be quite candid, it didn't come to Florida. So, whether it's here or Miami-Dade, we saw nothing, right? So when I say the Escambia Democrats, I'm saying the Democratic Executive Committee, over which is what I sit for all Democrats, whether you're black, white, yellow, orange, as Cheryl said, whatever the case may be, that's my responsibility. And that's literally all that we get on a monthly basis. So when I say we don't have it, I just think I can give it to you, but then I'm gonna ask you for a loan or ask you to donate so I can pay Ms. Doris our rent, on a monthly basis. That's what it is. I got to pick one or two things, and so for us, we don't get the money. So I have to tell the down ballot candidates as well as the Harris campaign, look, you're advertising. You need to talk to Mr. Vernon. You need to talk to Robert Hill. That's what you need to do. I can direct them, but again, they manage their own campaign. So I can't tell them how to spend their money, from that perspective. So I want to be abundantly clear. When I say we don't have it, it's not that I'm just being stingy or not spending it. I don't spend it with nobody because we don't have money to spend. We literally don't. We have to do all our in-house printing. The biggest expense that we had this year was that I had to budget and save and scrimp and do fundraisers for was to buy the slate cards that we bought 30,000 plus slate cards to get out to the Escambia County. That's literally what our money went to this year. So I ain't got a dime to do anything other than what that is. And God bless if somebody stops donating, we're in trouble. I can't make my monthly rent, if I'm being honest. So that's literally how we are. We don't have it.
That's what we mean about that. For individual candidates, if they were to decide to use it, we donate as much as we give. Both radio stations, we allowed to donate to the campaigns just like everybody else donate. So that's what we do. I donate. I really probably do net zero because when I donate, what you call it, Cheryl? When you what you call it now?
An in-kind.
In-kind, yeah. We do in-kind donations that can make their stuff go a little bit further. And if we do an in-kind, if they buy some and we're doing in-kind, it would happen. But going back to your point, Derek, it's just unconscionable to think that you guys, and go back to our original point, that I just don't think they value taking our votes in Northwest Florida just for granted. I think that the Democratic Party, if they thought that we could block their vote, they would put money in it. But they just assume that while Northwest Florida is red, few blue folks there are going to automatic vote for us. So why put our money over there? Let's put our money in these other red states. And but it's just like asking me to the prom. Okay, I'm not going to show up to the prom unless I'm getting invited. Okay, if I show up to the prom uninvited, that's not right. If you want my vote, why don't you just ask me for it? I'd be gladly to give it to you. But just speak to the people and say, look, we want your vote. Okay, we want your vote, just like you would have asked anybody else about the vote. But they just assume that I'm not going to ask you for it. You're going to vote for us, and that's it. I do believe that is the reason that Gillum lost his race. It was so close that they had to went out to the margins, okay, and ask those folks to please come out and vote. I think it would have made a difference in when Gillum ran for governor, but they didn't, and he only lost by a few votes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you had that many people in Miami and all the other places, double that could have got him over because they didn't vote. But here
It
in
was
this,
13 people per precinct.
Can
No,
I
three. It wasn't even 13. It was three per precinct.
yeah,
You
can
never
I
reach
can I
Wow.
further clarify this now? I've been in contact with my other counterparts, in the media, whether it's print media or radio media or TV media. They all experience the same thing we experience up here, not getting these votes. It's just not unique to Pensacola, not just unique to WBQP. They just take us for granted.
and one of the things that I've seen so often when you think about Northwest Florida, how big it is, and you think about Black people from here to Tallahassee that can make the difference, the margin of difference in any election. And it's not just Black people; they have white Democrats as well, all the way up to Tallahassee. But like you said, there's no outreach, and they write off because there's more Republicans here. The thing about it, you may be influencing Republicans as well to vote for you. If you come to this area, you spend money in this area. You might be just enough to get X amount of Republicans in this area. But the thing about it, like Derek said, you go into these areas where no Black people or no Democrats, it's like taking sand to the beach. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're not doing yourself any justice, in other words,
Have
by
anybody have anybody seen any Kamala Harris's ads on mainstream media here? I don't get a chance to look at it, but are they
You
running?
see it on channel 5, channel 3.
Hey, Derek, you broke up.
I see it on channel 5 and channel 10, the Alabama stations, but not on channel 3.
Wow.
I know they won't stop texting and calling me.
no, they're gonna text. I get about 30 of them a day.
Me too.
Yeah.
Text.
I wish I got 30. I would be
I'm
feeling
gonna
great.
text them back and
Mine
ask them
are
for
about
25 hours.
78 to 79 every day. I'm like, oh, please stop. But yeah.
Now, I got one
But
I just got one a couple hours ago. Well, just send her $3 in.
yeah, like take it back. I haven't seen Kamala, but I did see Gabe Alamont on channel 3. I was like, oh wait, they're okay.
Okay.
Like, look at that, but yeah, so when you say that, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, Mr. Vernon, and I think at some point in time you got to recognize what happens, because we'll see. I hope and pray that we don't see the result of what happens when you take it for granted and you don't do it. You see these down ballot candidates along with everybody else not get their offices, So
Yeah.
this is what I'm hoping that's not the case, but we got to do is what I consider to say, even we have this show, like, look, just go out and vote. That's all. Well, let me rephrase. Just please go out and vote Democrat, vote blue.
Well, Derek, wouldn't it make sense though? Wouldn't it make sense to me? You got the biggest fundraiser in the history of elections. Okay, wouldn't it make sense for that party to spend money to the down ballot folks, because those down ballot folks are going to be senators, they're going to be representatives, and they're going to be, to help them win. Wouldn't that make sense to kind of help them win?
It does.
Instead of spending all that $1 billion in 5 stupid sized states that they say they're going to make that margin difference. I don't believe that, but I think the majority of the state would make the margin difference.
Well,
Especially the ones that can win, like here in Escambia County.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of the Democratic woes. Yes. I get you. Like, I'm not the one that I don't make the decisions. If I made the decisions, you would see a very differently run campaign.
I will say, when you talk about a differently run, you're talking about a campaign, but I do have to give you your props as chair of the Escambia Democratic Party. When I first moved here, I attended a Democratic meeting. Might have been about a dozen people there, right? Of course, it was like the middle of the day, like 11:30, 12 o'clock on a Tuesday. But fast forward to just the last couple meetings I attended, there were like 50, 60 people there. And they were old. There was old people, there were young people, there were like everybody in between, like everybody working together and excited in a way I have not seen yet in the 10 years that I've been here. So thank you for what you do. And Lil, who is amazing, all that she does. I actually saw her when I went to go vote the other day. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job.
I have to say we have a great team, and with this is why I believe in teamwork and communication, and us all being on the same page. If we could all get on the same page,
yes,
we would be much further along. Continue to say that, and I will always say that. The problem is we have some folks that don't want to be on the same page. They want to be on their page and their page only. And any other page be damned. So this is where we are now. Hopefully, if things work out right, this will be the last year that we have to do this division, because we vote for new officers in the Democratic Party this December here locally. So hopefully this will be the last year of the foolishness. Well, move some people out of the way. Let's hope to move some folks out of the way so we can get to continue to grow and foster a cooperative work ethic where we include everybody, not just Black folks, not just white people, not just Hispanic, but because in this process, it takes everybody. I look at, and I use the sign wavings, for example. We had a successful sign waving for the Escambia Democrats for all the candidates on Thursday. I called it successful because we had over 70 people. I also call it successful because we had people that looked like everybody in Escambia County, not just people who live on Pensacola Beach. Right? And I said, let me go to the sign waving on Friday, because a group of the people of color who were at my sign waving on Thursday said, we want to go to sign waving on Friday. Derek, let's go, but will you go with us? And you know me, that's the last thing I wanted to do. But I went, right? And I saw that they had over 200 people at their sign. And I walked through the crowd because I made a point just to see what the diversity looked like. Right? And out of that 200, I counted a whopping 12 people of color, which is crazy. That's 5% in a county that most of your Democrats are, 49% of your Democrats are Black. It makes no sense to me. But again, you're not included.
I want to move on to this Washington Post. Since we're talking about media, they've been endorsing candidates since 1992, the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos decided, well, y'all can't endorse, because the editorial board wanted to endorse Harris because they said that Trump was unfit to run for office. But Jeff Bezos decided, well, we don't want to do that. The first time since 1992 that they haven't endorsed a candidate. So I'm trying to figure out, is he that afraid that Trump gonna win and he gonna come after them? Because Trump said enemy within, he said he gonna snatch papers and television license and all of that. Do you think that's what it is, Vern? He's capitulating in advance, so he's sitting on the sideline while we lose out. That's not
well,
what the guy did.
I see that in itself what I call election interference.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is already broadcasting that if you support somebody else other than me, if I get to be president, I'm gonna have the FCC to take your broadcast license. I'm gonna take your papers and all that stuff away from you. So he's threatening them And so you in
Right.
business, so you want to stay. And a lot of business the same way. They want to stay. They want to stay neutral, like those admirals and generals and all those kind of stuff. A lot of them won't come out because Trump already said, talk against me. When I get to be president, I'm going to call you back up on active duty. I'm going to court
Mhm.
martial you. I'm going to take away your retirement and probably put you in jail. So these folks are saying,
Mhm.
oh, Lord, I ain't going to say nothing. I'm going to be neutral about it. So just in case he wins. So that if that's not election interference, I don't know what is.
Yeah, but it's over 100 and some of them that has come out, and like they said, 44 out of 40, I think it's 45 of his staff has came out against him. There were people that was in close ranks with him, General Milley, John Kelly, all of them have come out against Trump, and because they know that he's a fascist.
Right.
But we started talking about this when he came after President Obama with the birther thing. We started talking about dictatorship and all of that. We've been talking about it ever since. But the so-called mainstream media now just begin to pick up on that he's a fascist, that he wants to be a dictator. But he can say all the crazy, stupid things in the world, and they go to ask him where is Kamala Harris at? She hasn't had a interview with us yet. Now she'd have been on just about every station and every platform in the country. But if she don't go into a certain one, now she done went all the way to Fox News and she held her business over there.
She did.
So I watched the whole interview.
But Jerry,
But they
what did Van Jones say about that? You remember what he said about it? Like Kamala and Trump. Trump can be lawless, but she has to be flawless.
flawless. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And the sad part about it, everybody, it's too many people, go along with that. You know, the media is supposed to be the fourth estate. They supposed to be keeping everybody in check.
That's a part
That
of the
includes
freedom of the press.
right.
It won't be
The,
when Trump get in.
they they were the ones that were supposed to give you the information so you can make informed decisions. But what
Well,
they haven't done it. They are not doing it. It became instead of newsworthy and information worthy, it became infotainment. A little information, but mostly entertainment.
I think it's fear and intimidation, Jerry, more than anything else. These people got a lot of monies and billions of dollars invested in their companies, and they want to be able to continue that even during a Trump administration. So I think they try to play both ends against the middle.
But they're not guaranteed that. That's the thing about it. When under a dictatorship, you're not guaranteed that you're gonna have that stuff.
I agree.
You know,
You're not gonna argue about that.
they are none of them is guaranteed because they can take your paper and give it to somebody else and say, I want this for the state. It's a state-run paper now. It's a state-run TV now. All of that can be done overnight. And he want to supersede the Congress through executive orders, which he can do for 4 years, which would devastate the country, and devastate information and there are those who going to be in his corner even if he die in office. They're going to be right there to make sure that all that stuff is carried out because they're all they're going to have around him is yes people, you know. So the thing about it, the dude is too dangerous to even be near a political office, whether it was even if it's dog catching. He too dangerous, and the people should know
even as a dog catcher, you got to pass a criminal background check.
it. Yeah.
That is the damnest thing I've heard of in my life. This democracy with no guardrails stuff.
Right.
You can be the president of the United States of America and be a criminal. I just
Mhm.
I just
But you
don't
can't
understand.
vote and be a criminal.
Right.
Right, right.
Right.
And the thing about it, he can be locked in prison and still run the country.
Oh gosh. Does that open it up for former felons to run for our Congress and our state house
Absolutely
positions?
not. Absolutely not.
Well,
Only
they can
the
run for president. They can't run for that, but they can run for president.
I'm just saying, like, how is that not possible? Or hold government jobs.
well, you can't even get a floor sweeping job with a felony in many of these states.
So how can we? How is this taken seriously? Because I struggle with this, like understanding how someone with all of those convictions and stuff like that can be the president or leader of the free world, and the average person can't apply for a government clerical job with one felony.
Well, Cheryl, only job they can qualify for is president. That's our point. The only thing,
Yeah,
the only thing that qualifies for president, you have to be born in this country and you have to be 35 years of age. That's the only qualification that they have to be president of the United States. So all the felons and the murderers and the rapists, if they want a job, run for president.
yeah,
So that's the only job that don't have any restrictions on, and which is
yeah.
stupid as hell to me. I don't
Right,
understand that. The highest,
right.
highest job in the land, then there's no requirements for it.
Wait a minute. So the representatives, I just looked it up. At least this is for Congress, right? 21 years of age, resident of the district from which elected, and resident of, like, say, Florida for 2 years prior to the election.
So you can be an ex-con to do that, right? It says anything about being that you.
According to the Constitution, Derek, do you have any other information
do
on
away
that?
with that? That ain't gonna mean crap.
Florida,
The Constitution.
like if you're, I think still in Florida, if you're convicted of a felony, you still can't hold office. You can't hold public office.
None of them?
Mm-mm.
Wow. But a
Yeah,
Florida resident, so this is the new Florida man, Florida resident with 34 felony convictions becomes president of the United States.
But he can't hold an office in the state of Florida, though.
But over the country, he can't.
Or if you want to engage in felonious activity, you have to go to a state that if you're convicted of said felony, it doesn't bar you from voting. So that's technically the situation that we have with Donald J. Trump. Is his felony convictions are in the state of New York, and those felony convictions that he has in the state of New York does not bar you from being able to vote in the state of Florida, in the state of New York. So therefore, he doesn't lose his voting rights in the state of Florida.
How would that work if he's convicted of the Georgia thing?
It would be, I don't know what Georgia's statutes are. I'm not sure. But that's why
I just think it would be a crap show.
But the crimes he's been convicted of is state crimes. He has not been convicted of any federal crimes yet, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But anybody else?
But there's like a couple of them pending though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, the documents crime, where he stole the top secrets and all that. That's still there. That's still pending.
I have never seen a court case take this long.
Oh wait, I thought the documents one was the one that lady discharged or dismissed.
He did, but they're trying to get it back.
They're refiling, right?
They refiled it. Yeah, they rewrote it and refiled it so that she couldn't do it this time around. And even with these felony convictions right now, like in
with that he has, everybody's like, oh, he's running so he can pardon himself. He can't pardon himself from those.
Not on those convictions.
Because,
on those states.
Not on a
because the president can't pardon you from a state conviction.
But
so
these convictions that he's the one he got right now. The 34 he got right now is not going to meet. He's not going to even do jail time for that. Okay, they just immaterial. Okay,
yeah.
But the important one is the Georgia case and the document case are probably the most important one of all that he could face some serious consequences against. But right now, these 34 he has right now, he's not worried about those unless that judge decides to put him in jail. I think that could be highly unlikely.
That's not going to happen because there's no way for a former president to sit in a penitentiary, not under the current setup where you got Secret Service guards. So I don't know anybody in the Secret Service volunteering to see what you while you're in prison.
Had to go to jail with him. They got a lot of
right. They going to jail with you like I'm cool.
I wouldn't be surprised they'll sleep on the next cot with him. Well, they would have to really. But
yeah,
would be me. I like or that's fine if I can go home at night. Like, okay, I'll be with you during the day, and when you got to go to your cell and go to sleep, then I'm checking out, and I'll come back and holler at you in the morning.
Maybe he could get one of those January 6th rioters to be his cellie.
But I'm sure they got that because they got 24-hour protection, so I'm sure that they do it in shifts anyway. So it really doesn't matter. Whoever had a night shift, the one that kind of sit there and watch him over at night.
I wouldn't do a night shift, a day shift, or evening shift, second shift, first shift, third shift,
well, that's their,
fourth shift.
That's their.
Ain't nobody prison. I ain't doing that for
nobody. That's their livelihood. That's their job. But some people would do it for nothing for him.
Okay. Well, they
pass a background check.
Yeah. You got to pass a background check to guard
watch the fellas.
You got to have a background check.
You got to have a clean record to go in jail.
Got to have a background check to sit in jail. Lord have mercy, ain't that something?
Oh, isn't it though?
That's
funny. You can't make this stuff up. Like, right. Yeah.
All right. You can tell we're getting close to the end because we be cracking jokes unnecessarily.
Yeah.
We say all this. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, like Earthquake said, these ain't jokes. It might be funny, but these ain't jokes.
It's very serious.
This real life for real.
In all essence, it goes back to go out to go vote. Go out and vote blue.
But vote before they take that away too.
Yeah. It might be the only time you get a chance to vote. You better exercise it.
We should tell people that they're going to take away the black vote because that's nothing will fire black people up more than thinking something is being taken away. So we say that they're going to take away and black people ain't going to be allowed to vote. Then maybe they'll come out in droves and go vote.
That's an accurate and fair statement to make. Actually,
that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying you won't need to vote anymore. He told a bunch of Tristan nationalists, don't worry about it because once we got it locked up. In other words, he's saying they're gonna steal the election again, and they're gonna steal it, and then they're gonna say they won through the electoral college. Harris then is preparing for him to say, well, the night of, before all the votes are counted, he's going to declare himself president of the United States.
He's doing it right now.
Who are these Christians? And again, I'm totally confused as to the Christians or the ones who call themselves Christians that are working with Satan and still still can call themselves Christians when they're not doing anything Christian like.
We got to get out of here.
Oh
yeah. You better say working with Satan.
But y'all, I know it's time to go, but Derek, I turn it back to you.
Okay, well, I just have one other thing I forgot to mention. This Saturday, on the 2nd. Thank you for reminding me. There will be a vote, Nick, or get out the vote. There will be food, rides to the polls, live DJs, whatever you need, come out and get it. It's going to be this Saturday from 12 noon to 5 p.m. at the Truth for Youth, or right across from Five Sisters at 432 West Belmont Street. This is your opportunity to see Black Voters Matter, get on the bus, and get on down to the polls. So if you haven't gone and you don't have a plan to go vote, go make Saturday your plan. As we do every week, we thank you for tuning in with us. We look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll say good night.
Go vote.
Christine, we miss you. We see you next week. Go vote. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.